Hello, my name is Matthew, and I just read the first three books from Avengers Forever. This is my copy, and I'm reading this as a part of my read along and book club with Steve Donahue. We also have a special guest this month. Michael K. Vaughn is joining in the fun, and so Steve made it very clear that I was going to find this comic book utterly incomprehensible. I wouldn't understand a single word of what's going on in this thing. I don't read comics. I don't know the lore, all the back issues, the very beginning of Marvel and the Avengers and superheroes and things like that. uh, I don't understand why. I thought it was clear as could be. It's just a straightforward, simple story. um, the beginning of this thing, I'm going to try my best to talk about what happens. It begins with a prologue. It says the fourth closest planet to the star Beta Centauri, the 26th century. And we've got this cover here. We have someone wearing a shirt that says hot tuna. And then we have these blue aliens. And it starts off setting this scene of being on this um, planet with these blue people. And we just get like the daily lives of these alien creatures. They're just living their life. And then the whole world freezes in time. So people in mid motion are absolutely just instantly frozen in place. And while they're all frozen, there's an alien invasion. From their perspective, an alien invasion. And it's troopers of different various Avengers members, but as if there was a whole platoon or battalion of um, Thor type soldiers and Iron Man type soldiers and Captain America type soldiers. And so it's not Thor and it's not Iron Man, but it's soldiers modeled after their power set and look. And then we get this guy. And his name is, he says, I am Jones Rickard. And he starts talking about how there was a small band of rebels on this planet, the blue aliens, that, what did they say? They were trying to overthrow the Avengers. And he had to punish this planet with extreme measures. And so he freezes them in time, sends down these Avengers troopers, and then obliterates the planet. It says it was something ridiculous, like 30% of the world has been ravaged, and 30% of the population, these blue aliens, have been um, murdered or injured, or just the whole planet is just wreaked with havoc. And then he unfreezes them. So just in a split second, everyone looks around. There's all these troopers and a man floating on a throne, and the planet's been laid to waste. And that's how it begins. Then we move on, because that's the prologue. And now we're on chapter 1, and it says, Mind Out of Time. And so now we see that there's Captain America, there's the Scarlet Witch, there's Iron Man, and then this person. And his name is Rick Jones. And so since we had this guy, Jones Ricard, and now we have a panel with Rick Jones. And it's explained that Rick Jones was somehow the catalyst of originally bringing the Avengers together. So that the first time this disbanded group of superheroes come together and assemble to be the Avengers. And Rick Jones played some part in getting them together. And he's the focus of the first three books that we read. It seems like in the future he becomes like a supervillain. He's now the head of a version of an evil Avengers, and we're gonna learn what happened from him being this cripple, and he's dying for some mysterious reason, to maybe becoming this crazed supervillain. And so we have the crippled Rick Jones, who sometimes has superpowers, sometimes he doesn't. The artwork is just stunning. As far as the tone and the storyline, which is complex, the characterization, the tone, the style feels like a classic version of a comic book. This is the kind of comic book that I think about if I think about opening up a comic. It's going to look like this instead of floating head. Instead of some of the other comics that Steve and I had read, like the Frank Miller Batman. This just feels more true to the comic book spirit. Isn't that amazing? So we have Iron Man, we have the Scarlet Witch. We're gonna find a whole bunch of characters coming in, but they're on a moon base, and they're trying to take care of Rick Jones because he's dying. And there's also there's a war that had gone on called the Kree, the alien civilization called the Kree, and alien civilization called the Skrull. And there was a big war, and on this moon base they've captured what they call the Supreme Being, and it's like this mega computer version of a giant brain, a big giant head that knows everything. And so they decide, Captain America and a couple of these Avengers, Iron Man, they're going to go visit the super being, the Supreme Being, this floating head, to try to figure out what's going on with Rick Jones. And while they're there, we are introduced to, oh my god. Okay, so this is Immortus, this is Kang the Conqueror, and then this other guy has some name, but he's like, it looks like he's made out of like frozen, like chunks of ice or crystal or something. Okay, so Kang the Conqueror and Immortus are the same person from two different timelines, and time travel comes to play a hugely important role in the story and how the story makes sense. So it seems like the Supreme Being has some plan, because all these characters are time travelers and know what's going to happen in the future, and so everyone's kind of out to kill Rick Jones. And Immortus comes from the future, and he's after Rick Jones. And then Kang the Conqueror appears, who is an earlier version, like centuries earlier, of Immortus, because they're the same person from different timelines. And so, look at him. He's just like sashaying in there. He has this funny little outfit. So he wants to defend Rick Jones and not kill him. And a portal opens up, and Immortus, because he is in charge of the whole timeline. He's like the keeper of the time or something. And Kang the Conqueror is merely just a time traveler. He opens up this portal and sends in huge armies into this moon base. And oh my God. The artwork is amazing. Okay, now we get the Avengers. The Avengers assemble. So the Avengers come in. They just walk into a melee. And there's Kang the Conqueror, who's a villain. There's Immortus, who's, I think that's what his name is. There's Immortus, who's a villain. There's the Supreme Being. And they all just start fighting. Everyone's fighting. And it's just, look at that. There's a whole bunch of confusion. The artwork is just so great. And so they temporarily stop Immortus. He goes back into his portal. The Supreme Being does something and gives Rick Jones temporary powers because he can do something. And then Kang the Conqueror is explaining that he needs to figure out what Immortus is doing. And in the meantime, the Avengers and Rick Jones need to go somewhere outside of the timeline. That's what that's the plan. The Avengers, meanwhile, they don't know what's going on. So this whole thing breaks out, and we realize these aren't just these aren't just the Avengers kind of banded together on another escapade, fighting bad guys. There's Rick Jones having superpowers. They're totally confused, the Avengers. And what we learn as they start figuring out what's going on, we also have this guy, Libra. He's another time traveler. He's going to take them to a strange place. But where is it? These Avengers have been plucked out of different timelines and then brought together unbeknownst to them. So it's as if they just sort of appeared together in this big fight, and they're all confused too. Look at that artwork. And let me see. Did I bookmark? I bookmarked something. There we go. So, the cast, the Avengers cast, we have a shattered, demoralized Captain America, 2 Hank Pyms. So, we have a villain. We have a pair of villains, Kang the Conqueror and Immortus, who's the same person from different timelines. Then on the Avengers team, we have Hank Pym, who is at one point Yellow Jacket, and then at another point in time, he's Giant Man. And both of these Hank Pyms have been brought together for whatever adventure's going on. A bitter Captain Marvel, clearly hiding something. And then Hawkeye is in this. Hawkeye without size-changing powers or his trick arrows. So at some point, maybe Hawkeye becomes Ant-Man or Giant Man. And then an ex-villain. And then at the part of, I think this is the third book, we have Kang the Conqueror and Immortus here battling. The whole thing's so confusing. At the beginning of each book, there has to be some kind of recap to get even the closest readers up to speed on what's going on. And so we get like a reintroduction of each character, and a Captain America from her past, discouraged and disillusioned, on the verge of quitting his heroic role for a time. And so these Avengers are coming from the future, they're coming from the past, some of them are from different timelines, some of them know more information than what they're leading on, maybe. They have different personalities, whether they were a villain at one time. Look at that artwork. So the one time traveler, Kang the Conqueror, he recommends, until this can kind of get sorted out, why Immortus wants to kill Rick Jones, that they go somewhere outside of the timeline. And then there's that time traveler who's mysterious, Libra. He takes the Avengers to, it's called like the Chronopolis, I think. It's called the Chronopolis. First he takes them into limbo. They're on the moon base, and they like walk down a hallway, and the walls disappear, and they're just in this limbo state in like another dimension or a different plane of existence. And then he decides to take them to this place called Chronopolis, the Avengers. And it's going to be a safe hiding place. It's a place that Kang the Conqueror created. It's outside of the timeline, but also touches on every point in what appears to be human history. And so it's a city where every region is a slice of one period of time. And so you can walk through the time of the pharaohs and the pyramids, and over to ancient Greece, and then over to ancient Rome, and then the time of the Italian Renaissance, and on and on and on, just all throughout history. But instead of being a safe place, it is in fact a war zone. There's a big war already breaking out, and there's a Mortis is already there. He is. Let me see if you could, because there's a lot of floating heads in these things. Look at that artwork. It's the place where Kang the Conqueror is sort of the ruler and the king of everything. And then another portal dimension opens up, and Immortus is there. He's able to send in armies all throughout all of time. And they're battling and fighting. It doesn't seem like anyone knows what's going on or why any of it is happening. Mortis is also trying to get a special time crystal that'll help him do something. And then it looks like the way that the Avengers escape is they go into the Egyptian Sphinx. They go into the Sphinx, which I think was Kang the Conqueror's time machine, his original time machine. And so they escape. Immortus gets his special crystal. Kang the Conqueror looks like he's been crushed and defeated. And that's what's happened so far. So uh, it's fun. It's really fun to read. The artwork is great. I love the kind of the tone and flavor of the characters and the characterization, the way that they're acting and behaving and being confused about things and trying to be good and do the right thing. Um, they have to learn to trust suspicious people. Are they going to work side by side with Kang the Conqueror? Um, and we have to figure out what's going on with Rick Jones. Is he going to become a supervillain in the future? And does Immortus know that? And does that mean that maybe um, even with unsavory methods, he's actually trying to prevent catastrophic events that he knows are going to happen in the future? Um, so we'll find out. um, so thank you for watching. I'm really looking forward to um, hearing Steve's thoughts and Michael K. Vaughan's take on this as well. Great fun, really great fun. So that's first three books, part one of Avengers Forever. Um, if you're reading it, if you're reading it, or if you have read it, let me know what you think. So thank you for watching. Please leave a comment if you would like, and take care.